Come join us as we watch this black couple get scared of a white-faced clown. Newlyweds Tom Hodgson and Jillian Hope Hodgson move into their first home together, which is a wedding gift from Tom's mother. While talking about their renovation plans and giggling about unagi, they hear a loud thud in the basement, so they head down. That's when you know a white person wrote this, because black people would not be chasing sounds like this. There, they find the Hodgsons' old things, including a photo of them when they were kids in Jillian's flip book. Tom hears a noise again, and when he checks where it's coming from, a tiny black dog runs out from a wall. They adopt the dog, calling it Unagi, and they renovate their house. At dinner with their friends, Tom shares that when Jillian was a kid, she used to write stories and draw made-up characters. One of the characters she made was a contortionist clown called Pretzel Jack, which Jillian drew after she had gone to a circus, where she saw a contortionist. In her flip book, she drew Pretzel Jack being friends with a little girl. At a store, Jillian witnesses Tom having an argument with a woman a few aisles away. When they get home, Jillian goes through their mail and finds a letter addressed to her from her dad, Bill Hope, which she tears up. Jillian asks Tom about the woman at the store, to which Tom says that her name is Sarah Winters, a woman who lives out in Mayor Hill with her husband and who is unsatisfied with the renovation he did on their master bedroom. When she keeps pushing, asking him if they slept together, Tom tells her that he's not her father and that he won't do what he did, and that even if he did sleep with her, it would have been way in the past. He tells her to look Sarah up and call her so that she can confirm for herself that nothing is going on between them. Later that night, Jillian apologizes to Tom, who also apologizes for snapping at her, and they make up in a naughty way. As the couple sleep, their bedside lamp flickers and Jillian moves like she is having a nightmare. The next morning, Tom calls Jillian from the basement and asks her to picture and describe the far wall before going down. When she says that it's just a wall without anything on it, he shows her that it now has a blue door, which they both don't remember being there, especially Tom, who grew up in that house. Tom takes a photo of it and sends it to his mom, who tells him that she's never seen that door. Upon taking a closer look, Tom notices that the door has no keyhole and there's no air coming through. While Jillian is freaked out, Tom tries to come up with a possible explanation. They show the door to Tom's friend, Jason, who's so sure that that door didn't exist before. When Jason's sledgehammer attempt doesn't work, he tries opening it with a shotgun. The basement lights flicker and eventually go out, and finally, the knob comes loose. They discover stairs heading down to another blue door with a white handprint on it. The basement lights return and the trio starts to descend the dark stairs with only flashlights to illuminate it. When they learn that the second door is locked too, Tom wonders if it leads into the neighbor's house given the slope. The trio heads to the O'Connell's house and Ian, the guy who's renting it, shows them the basement, which doesn't have any door. Ian shows interest in their basement situation, calling it fascinating and mentioning Jungian psychology. After all their attempts fail, Jillian presses her ear on the door to listen to what's on the other side and knocks on it. When she walks away, someone knocks from the other side. Jillian tells her therapist, Abel Karnacki, about the door in their basement, saying its presence makes her feel unsafe, but he dismisses her. She shares that Tom has made late-night phone calls and that she saw him having an argument that felt personal with a woman at a store. When he asks her if she thinks that he's calling the woman at the store and suggests asking Tom, she doesn't respond. He advises against secrets and distrust as they destroy marriage and advises her not to let her parents' marriage ruin hers. Following Tom, who leaves after dark to go to Jason's, Jillian catches him going to the house of a woman named Vanessa Moss. Increasingly anxious, knowing that Tom has lied, Jillian drives home. At home, Jillian hears a noise from the basement and sees a flash of memory of a blue door with a white handprint on the backside of a closet, and the wall also has multiple handprints on it. She heads down to the basement, and when she reaches the second blue door, she presses her hand against the white handprint, unlocking it. To her horror, in the pitch-black room behind it is her imaginary friend, Pretzel Jack, who runs past her and out into the real world. After Jillian talks to the cops to report the incident, Ian asks her if she thinks some things are special. He quickly drops the topic, saying he didn't mean to weird her out, and goes back inside the house. Jillian later refuses to stay at a hotel but keeps a knife on her bedside table. The next day, Jillian finally calls the number on Tom's phone bill, and the lady on the other end confirms that she is Sarah Winters. When Jillian introduces herself as Tom Hodgson's wife, Sarah tells her to tell Tom to stay away from her. Otherwise, she'll have to get a restraining order against him. Later that night, Jillian tells Tom she called Sarah and confronts him about calling her 5 times in 3 days. Instead of assuring her, Tom gaslights her into believing that her anxiety is the root of the issue and leaves. Unbeknownst to the couple, Pretzel Jack is there witnessing the confrontation. While Tom returns to Vanessa, Jillian visits Jason, hoping he'll tell her the truth. Jason quickly denies any cheating on Tom's end and gaslights her, bringing up her dad. He brushes off a strange noise, not knowing that Pretzel Jack is sneaking into the house. As the two argue, Pretzel Jack attacks Jason and kills him in front of a shaking Jillian. When Jillian repeatedly screams, "Stop!" Pretzel Jack stops and happily shows her a few contortionist tricks before leaving. Hell to the gnaw. Why was this Jillian's imaginary friend when she was young? The cops question Jillian about why she's at Jason's and why the attacker didn't harm her. Later, after revisiting her Pretzel Jack flip book, Jillian talks to Ian, who suggests having a neighborhood watch after the recent events. When she struggles to talk about the attack, he suggests trying lucid dreaming to train and control her subconscious. At Jason's funeral, Jillian feels like someone is watching her. At home, Jillian asks Tom if he believes in the supernatural, to which Tom says he doesn't. Jillian remembers Pretzel Jack in the door in the backside of a closet. Because of this, Jillian visits the house where she and her mother used to live in. The owner, who remembers her, invites her in. When the owner takes a call, Jillian sneaks up to her old room, where she sees a tear in the closet's wallpaper. At a playground, Tom secretly gives Sarah's baby a toy, which later gives Sarah the idea that Tom is nearby. Meanwhile, Jillian sneaks back inside the house when the owner leaves. She rips the closet's wallpaper, revealing a small blue door with a white handprint. When she opens it, she discovers Pretzel Jack's corpse. After making love, Tom asks Jillian why she's at Jason's that night, as if he's suspicious of her, and leaves the room. As she puts on clothes, Jillian sees Pretzel Jack through a gap at the bathroom door, prompting her to run and call Tom. However, when Tom comes with a knife, Tom finds the bathroom empty. In another session with Abel, Jillian tells him about Pretzel Jack becoming real. She shares that she drew and made up stories about him, and when her dad left when she was 8, he came out of a door in the back of her closet. My dad left my family with the pool boy and came out of the closet as well. However, Abel takes Pretzel Jack as a metaphor and gives her prescriptions. Upset, Jillian leaves. When Ian assures Jillian that he'll listen to her, Jillian shares the truth about Pretzel Jack. Ian says, "Contortionist clown, the laughing shadow," and tells her that the clown lives only in the present and is a healer and guardian. When Ian asks her if anyone else got her angry, Jillian realizes that Abel is next. Jillian and Ian rush to the office, and to their relief, Abel is still alive. Tom asks Vanessa to talk to Sarah, but she refuses as Sarah is protecting her family. After Tom tells her that the baby looks like him, she takes Tom to a room where she lights candles and tells him, "Find your silence." In another room, Vanessa watches Tom removing his garments. Then Vanessa gives herself the five-finger excitement. Ian shares with Jillian that just like her Pretzel Jack, when he was a kid, he drew a super tall kid with a scary face as an imaginary friend, who he calls Tall Boy. That's Slender Man. They then talk about personal stuff, with Jillian sharing that she and Tom don't fight a lot and that her dad has a second family. Tom removes his wedding ring and does floating meditation in a pool. Meanwhile, Jillian, who has returned to their house, opens Tom's laptop to answer Sarah's call. She hears a baby in the background as Sarah says she knows he's at the playground the day before, threatening to call the cops if he comes around again. The lights flicker as Jillian listens to Sarah. Pretzel Jack plays peekaboo with Vanessa. Frightened, Vanessa takes a gun and shoots him, but to her horror, Pretzel Jack doesn't die and moves towards her. Pretzel Jack attempts to drown Tom in the pool and pierces his chest with a knife. After a dying Vanessa shoots Pretzel Jack, Tom escapes and reverses out of Vanessa's driveway, but he gets hit by a van on the road. Seeing this, Pretzel Jack stops pursuing Tom. Jillian receives a call about Tom and Ian, who's returning unagi, offers to drive her to the hospital, where he wishes Tom a fast recovery. After Ian leaves, Jillian asks Tom why he needs to do floating meditation at Vanessa's, but he doesn't respond. The cops arrive and show them the CCTV footage of the attack. Trying to narrow down a suspect, they ask Tom about who knows that he's going there, because Vanessa didn't advertise the floating meditation, and her clientele is mostly word of mouth. They add that she mostly operates as a doula, someone who delivers babies, making Jillian suspicious. They ask him who Sarah Winters is, since she's his only link to Vanessa, but he gives them the same explanation he gave Jillian before. Because of how the attacker looks, Tom tells the cops about Jillian's Pretzel Jack drawings and assumes that an insane person saw them and copied him. When they return home, Tom asks Jillian if she has any idea who the attacker is, and Jillian says, "He's me." Pretzel Jack, who's watching them, leaves to sleep under a deck. Jillian shows Tom her Pretzel Jack flip book, telling him that Pretzel Jack is protecting her. She takes him down to the room beyond the second blue door in the basement and shows him Pretzel Jack's corpse, saying it's him from back then. Unfortunately, Tom doesn't believe her. Jillian confronts Tom about his child with Sarah, and her emotions awaken Pretzel Jack from his sleep, summoning him. Tom explains that he was with Sarah when he and Jillian reconnected, but they ended it when they became serious. He later found out that Sarah is pregnant, but she's married, and her husband thinks that the now 8 months and 1 week old baby is his son. The confession blows up into an intense emotional argument, which feeds Pretzel Jack, who arrives at the Hodgsons seconds after the couple left to go to Abel. As both Tom and Abel don't believe Jillian, the therapy session becomes heated and the lights flicker. When they hear a noise outside the office, Jillian warns Abel that Pretzel Jack is coming. When Pretzel Jack enters his office through a window, Abel calmly makes him leave, which leads to his death. Tom and Jillian run and hop into Ian's car, and Pretzel Jack chases them. Ian reveals that he and Jillian are the same. He advises Jillian to stay calm because although everybody has secret doors, they can open theirs to the world. And Pretzel Jack is like Jillian's emotional defense system that goes off when Jill's in distress. He adds that he can feel her, so it's not a coincidence that he's their neighbor. When Jillian asks how she can kill Pretzel Jack, Ian says that he needs to be torn to shreds. However, she doesn't have to kill him, but only needs to learn to control him. To prove himself, Ian asks them to name an animal. Tom says werewolf, and Jillian says cat. Ian then conjures a dream door in one of the walls of the room, and when he opens it up, a Lakoi walks out. To lure Pretzel Jack, Ian says Jillian needs to be incredibly hurt because Pretzel Jack is her protector. The trio settles in the room beyond the second blue door, where Tom shares the details of his affair with the married Sarah and shares that he wants to be a father to his son. He then confesses to Jillian his fears about their marriage. Tom leaves, and as he walks up the stairs, Pretzel Jack appears at the top. After Jillian gets a call from her dad, who says he needs to see her to talk to her, Pretzel Jack runs past Tom and towards Jillian, prompting Ian to remind her to stay calm. Pretzel Jack does a few of his contortionist tricks, and Jillian lays her head on his chest. Tom, who walks back down, witnesses Jillian and Pretzel Jack peacefully leaning on each other for comfort. When he hears Sarah calling him at the door, he goes to face her, and she tells him that they need to talk. What do you guys think of this series so far? Do you think she will ever learn how to control Pretzel Jack?
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.